Get in position, man.
Get in position, Big Sabe, because guess what? We're live. We're live here one more time. This is going to be the second to last video before LAN. So this comes out Monday. In 2-3 days, we got big Frag 19 coming up, but that's neither here nor there. What is here and there is another episode of Laying It Down with Big D. I, of course, am your host, Andrew Big D Morrow, and today I'm joined by another friend of mine, another passionate Counter-Striker, and org owner of a little thing you may have heard of called Take Flyte. We've had one half of the org ownership on the show. Finally, after much deliberation, we've got Saben Neale out here. Saben, how are you doing down there?
Dude,
he's laying it down,
great.
folks.
I'm laying it down, man. I'm doing great. How about yourself, Big D?
I'm doing great, but let's not do the whole interview from down there because you look horribly uncomfortable for one.
That's really real. That's really real.
And I know that microphone is up on your desk and not down on the floor with you.
Much better, much better. Hello, everybody.
Hell yeah. Well, and you're looking fresh to death in the Take Flyte jersey, which Saben said he's giving me one of those when I get to Canada here in a few days. Not many people know this, but I'll be staying with the Take Flyte team in Canada. I'm joking about Saben giving me one of those. I was about to say,
I do have one ordered, but it's not going to be here.
Damn. That's all right. We're gonna,
He is getting one, though, chat. He is getting one.
Big D's gonna have the merch someday. It's been a while,
Dude,
wild ride.
We ordered you one, and then one of his neighbors yoinked it from him. So we gotta get him the new fresh stuff, you know.
The UPS driver delivered it to the wrong address in the same apartment complex. Somebody yoinked it, could never find it. It's gone. And then, well, and not only that, but then OSS also, right around the same time, ordered jerseys, and it turned out to be like some fraudulent company that never sent them through. So I'm on two strikes with these jerseys. I'm just convinced I'll never have a Big D jersey, and that's fine. That's fine.
It's not fine.
We'll get some Big D merch out there is what we're going to do. But
I'll wear that in public. It'll be bold, but I'd wear it in public.
I hope so. I think a lot of people would. It says it's just going to say I heart Big D on it.
Dude, and it should have a picture of you, like your face in the middle, and then it's got a big heart around it.
That would be a good. I was thinking what I'm gonna do is like the old New York, the I Heart NY like tourist shirts for New York. Yeah. It's just gonna be I Heart Big D.
That's fire.
And that because then if I don't make it me or Counter-Strike related, people outside of Counter-Strike could buy it because it's a hilarious shirt. So
that's good branding right there.
We're working on it. But you know what? We're not here to talk about me, Saben.
True.
We're not.
True.
It's laying it down with Big D. I could talk about myself all day. Don't make no mistake, chat. But what we are here to talk about is Mr. Saben Neale. So Saben,
oh, I'm so nervous, dude. I'm here with Big D, bro. I'm on laying it down with Big D. I'm excited.
Yeah, you're. There's literally dozens of people watching right now. Let's go all the way back in time because you are a multi-esports person. You're not locked in with just Counter-Strike. In fact, you've only been in the Counter-Strike realm for the last, 3-4 years, right?
Yes, yeah. I think it's going on 4 years now that we're in 2025, which is pretty crazy.
Yeah. Talk to me about your earliest memories of video games and how they... Chat, bear with me here. Saben started originally in Valorant and then came to Counter-Strike, which is good. There's going to be no shame about that because he took the correct path of playing baby's first Counter-Strike and then playing Counter-Strike, the real deal, right? Like that's the way I see it. I think there's a lot of people that move backwards and play Counter-Strike and are like, this is too hard, so they go to Valorant and go there. Anyway, we won't go too deep into that. But my whole question is, take us back to the earliest memories of video games. Like, when did you start playing games, and How did you land on Valorant eventually in competitive tac shooters?
Oh man, I've been gaming. I love the cat. I've been focusing on the cat way too much. He's so pretty though. But man, video games. I mean, they've been a part of my life pretty much forever. I can remember pretty much since like 3 years old playing on, and I'm not too old, okay, but I'm 25. But I remember pretty much since like 3 years old playing on Nintendo 64. I had a Game Boy Advanced SP and an Xbox, and then I mean those are some of my core memories. Playing games like Pokemon Stadium, GoldenEye, Smash Bros. 64. I was a huge Pokemon kid. I played that. I mean, probably until like 19 pretty religiously. I was a huge Pokemon guy. And man, there are just so many good games that really led me to where I wanted to go. But pretty much Pokemon. That was like the huge start into me finding a more competitive aspect. And I know that sounds silly, but competitive Pokemon was intense, bro. Okay? There was some intense stuff going on. And I was really into it. But I found out that I definitely preferred Call of Duty at a certain point, and I went really hard into Call of Duty. I played competitively in Advanced Warfare. I did a bit in Black Ops 3, but I just couldn't get with the new movement. And around that time, my love for Call of Duty started dying out a little bit. I was still in love with zombies, but just like multiplayer was so sweaty that like I just couldn't find myself enjoying it unless I was trying my ass off. And at like 15, 16, that just wasn't really what I wanted to do at the moment. And I was into real sports as well, so that's where a lot of my actual competitive drive went towards until I graduated from high school. I got a laptop then, and I did a lot of emulations on my laptop. That's how I got into YouTube originally, which is what I do for work. I'm a video editor for YouTubers, and I'm like a content manager. But I started YouTube around 13, got really into video games on there. And then, man, Counter-Strike. I think I played Counter-Strike for the first time when I was 17. And I played it on my laptop. I had like 60 FPS. I was an absolute shitter, and it was a blast. I made some of my best, earliest connections through Counter-Strike and Call of Duty, and I still have a lot of friends who I am still connected to, who I met almost 10 years ago now on Counter-Strike Go. So, man, it was a journey. Eventually, though, I got an actual PC, and I was still ass at Counter-Strike, which was a problem. But a new game came out, which was Valorant. And Valorant was really interesting at the time. When it first came out, it was like the fresh thing that all of these Counter-Strike players were looking for when they were getting bored of Go. And I was in the same boat. I was never very good at Go, so I was like, why not try a new game? I tried Valorant for a while. I was decent. I got to Diamond. I wasn't anything crazy, but it was a fun time. I really enjoyed it. They started adding too much crazy shit. I stopped enjoying it. And then I remembered this Counter-Strike still. Now, around the time when Valorant was coming out, and I think it was around 2021, end of 2020, I was approached by two dudes named not Flixie, Flixie's the CS player, Flix, and Prod, I believe was the other guy's name. And they started this team called Take Flyte, and they were looking for somebody who had experience in running esports teams, which up until this point, I had worked for teams like the Sonics and Atlanta Reign and Los Angeles Gorillas in different aspects, not necessarily in management, but I had the knowledge of how to grow teams and what esports fans were looking for. And so they brought me on board as their third co-owner, and they were huge into Valorant. And that's pretty much where we stuck. We recruited some top-tier Valorant talent. A few of them went to Soar Gaming's Valorant team. One of our former pro players, his name is Valen, and he actually plays for G2's Valorant roster right now. And they won I believe, a world championship. And they won the Ascension League. They played for the Guard shortly after Take Flyte. But yeah, we've definitely had some insane talent while in Valorant. But eventually, it became too, like, if you think Counter-Strike rosters are bad, holy shit, you've never dealt with a Valorant roster. They will leave the second there is an opportunity that is even like, they could be here and the opportunity could be like here and it's not even guaranteed, and they'll fucking just ruin everything to go there.
Just drop it.
Yeah, and I don't like that. That's hard to work with, realistically. And they wanted money. And it wasn't a little bit of money. It was a lot of money. They were wanting I mean, some of them are winning a couple thousand a month at some points. And I'm not saying that they didn't deserve that necessarily, but as a tier 2 team who at the time had like 400 followers, like there's just that's not happening, you know? So the expectations of tier 2 and Valorant were just so high. Um and there wasn't any reward. Like the goal was Ascension League, and it's like that's too high of a goal, you know? That's like your only goal being making ESL Pro League, and there's no in between bench points, you know? So it's just
Right.
and I loved Counter-Strike. I really did. And I also loved Super Smash Bros. So I recommend we branch out, and we did actually temporarily. We branched out into Super Smash Bros. We picked up a player named Caden, who's actually and he is still part of Take Flyte to this day, which is very cool. He's actually the longest tenured member of Take Flight, I believe, right now, because shortly after I picked up and a Counter-Strike roster, I was forcibly kicked from Take Flight and bought out of my ownership for wanting to expand. Because the other two owners didn't like Counter-Strike and they didn't like Smash, and they just wanted Valorant. And I was like, that's fucking stupid. Give me money and I'll leave. And that's exactly what happened. Team died like 3 months later. And then I hit them up and I was like, yo, I'll pay you back the money and an extra $500. Just give me everything. And they did. And they were like, yeah, fine. And I picked it back up and I kept Caden, obviously. I kept our Counter-Strike roster that we had at the time. I kept the Valorant team for a little bit, but then parted ways with them because Valorant. And yeah, we've been building ever since, man. And that was 2021, I believe, like around April. I think it was March, actually. May. That's after April. I think it was around May 2021 that I got full ownership of Take Flight. And yeah, Tekken, Smash, and Counter-Strike was the main goal after that. That was long-winded. Sorry.
No, dude, I told you I want to hear you yap. Oh, and we got the full that is how you got into Valorant. And yeah, we definitely want to hear the Take Flight story. I was gonna say we don't have to like name names by any means, but you brought up like how challenging it is when you are dealing with players. Obviously, everything that we're doing in like Counter-Strike has to kind of be for the players right now because our scene is so small. Like we need to attract more players at this point first and foremost if we're gonna start like expanding and growing in this region. And now I forgot what. Oh, but you but it doesn't mean that they're like easy to deal with at times. So like what are some of the challenges as an org owner that you personally have had to deal with over the last like I mean that was one huge challenge, getting brought on, kicked for having good ideas, and then had to buy it back from them. Like it's a triumphant return.
It's not the start that most people think Take Flight had. That is for damn sure.
No, but it's got backstory. But like, what are some of the challenges of dealing with players, and how do you navigate that?
Well, how to navigate it is a lot of fucking patience. I have learned to have a lot of patience, and I'm not always the best at it. I'm still learning, obviously, as a human. But you have to have a lot of patience and understanding that one thing earlier on is that I took things a little personally when players decided to leave my team. And it wasn't like I like had my feelings hurt and I was like messaging them like, yo, why are you doing? But like I took it personally as like, what are we doing wrong? You know? And I think that's not really the right way to do it. Obviously, you should look at it to an extent like that of like, what could I be doing better? But you should be looking at it like, things aren't always in your control. You can try as hard, especially as the org owner. Like that's my whole thing is we try to have control of all the situations, but you have to accept that sometimes it's just out of your control, whether it's other opportunities for players or personal things or financial reasons or just that, you know, you have to really be understanding. And I try to talk with all my players whenever they leave, at least message with them just to like get an understanding of that type of thing. And fortunately for myself, I at least have not been told that I am the reason people have left my team at any point. Obviously, I don't know if they'd tell me that directly, but I hope they would so that I could improve. But generally, there's just a lot of reasons, you know? But man, it's hard. There's so many issues to deal with as the player manager, because as the org owner and the general manager, and Nello is also co-owner and the COO. We do all of the player management except for the European team, Nafsin and Release. Shout out to them. They take care of that for the most part. But Smash, Tekken, Counter Strike, Apex, whatever else generally that isn't in Europe, Nello and I are watching over. And man, it's a mess sometimes. Over the last few seasons, I've been a lot more fortunate, and also over the last few seasons, I've actually personally vetted all of my teams more extensively than I would have earlier on. So I haven't had many issues. I think a lot of the times people, especially in Challengers League and like high advanced rosters, they're pretty good at communicating, um, generally. So like if there's an issue, they generally bring it up in a timely manner that you can work around it, which is the most important thing. Because I don't really want to hold players back, but at the same time, I can't allow my team and my roster to get fucked over because of somebody else's other decisions. So it's just communication, really, to make sure that like that doesn't happen, so everybody can be happy. Because tier two, man, like there's some teams that are paying good salaries that like somebody can live off of, but like for the most part, like we're paying for events and like some minor salaries or bonuses, but like we're not living off of this. I don't want to hold people back from opportunities that they think we could potentially get them those full-time salaries, because that's not my goal. As a tier two org owner, your goal should be obviously to build an awesome brand that hopefully can get sponsors and then become a tier one team, but should ultimately be looking out for the players to an extent as well, because they're the bread and butter. Like there wouldn't be an org without the players, and there wouldn't be a scene without the players. So obviously you have to look out for yourself, but it is very important, and I've always made it my mission to make sure that the players feel like they're not getting screwed over. Like even recently, and I won't name names, but obviously context clues. There were some roster changes that we had because of different decisions and thought processes on the roster, and there still aren't necessarily official deals fully worked out. But as you can see, Wreckmeister is going to be playing with Chicken Coop, right? So we work things out because it's not ideal, obviously, but we don't want to hold him back from an opportunity that he thinks is good,
Right. There's no bad blood in any of these things. It
Yes.
comes down to what you said is just communicate with us so we're not like, because we are
shocked,
right. You're not shocked. And the other thing is like, this is what like a lot of players need to like understand more so, especially while we're in this like kind of very small, compact point in our scene where it's like we don't have a huge talent pool. There's not a lot of money flowing through this thing. Like most of the org owners are pouring their own hard-earned cash from another full-time job into this thing to try to help build it. Do not try to bleed these people for everything that they have. Like, they're going to help you. They're going to help, but like communicate with them. Like all you have to do is communicate. And pretty much everybody in this scene, unless you're dealing with like org owners that like, I see in the earlier times of like when I started casting a few years ago, I saw a lot of orgs like start things out and they're there to try to exploit. The opposite is true. They're trying to exploit players at the most small amount of money they can give them,
which is so funny. There's so little money to be made if you're, and this is me speaking to anybody who's thinking about starting an org. If you're thinking about starting an org to make money, you're fucking stupid. To find a better use with your money, okay? You should not be starting an esports team unless you A, have insane adventure capitalist money that's going to fund everything, or B, you are truly passionate about it and you are okay at being at a loss, okay? Nello and I obviously we've made money from some things, but like we are so net negative on this thing, and that's fine to us because we're building something and we truly believe
esports.
We believe that one day Take Flyte could be a big name, and we believe in our players that it's worth spending money on them just for the opportunity at not only us getting some success from it, but obviously them getting success. Like that's the whole thing. When I started doing Counter-Strike 4 years ago, and when I started doing Take Flyte, like that was always my goal. You don't go into esports Some people do. They're stupid again. You don't go into esports to make money. You go into esports for passion and the love of the game, and hopefully you are rewarded with all of the time you put in. But it's never guaranteed as well, which is another thing. I put a lot of hours into this. I've sacrificed a lot of personal opportunities to keep this going. And I don't really regret that necessarily because I'm really happy with what we're building. And I mean, obviously, there are definitely better things I could be doing with my time, but this truly does make me happy. And I think that there's an argument to be made that Nello and I have a positive impact on a lot of players' lives, even just supporting them somewhat, because Counter-Strike's a big part of their lives. And that's something to feel good about, you know, that like we're supporting people who are passionate and making their lives easier.
Well, and you have some. I've been very excited about this year's core that you have with this roster that you have playing Counter-Strike right now. I mean, they just made ECL 6 months after you picked them up, and that's huge. And these are guys that are really hungry for it. It feels like, and it feels like there's a really nice synergy going on between org ownership and the players, where they want to. You're able to give them their ask, and that fires them up to play good Counter-Strike for you guys. So I think it's a really cool thing to see right now. And that being said, I know a few weeks ago, before we got Frag 19 coming up here in a few days. We're very excited. I'm looking forward. Me personally, I don't have a horse in the race anywhere. I'm excited about North American Counter-Strike. I want everybody to have a good time. I'm so excited to see all of my friends from all the different teams.
Same here.
But, well, and I know, yeah, and no matter how you split it, especially at the Frag events, everybody's like friends with everybody. So like it's nice to see everybody get along. But I do want to ask you, you do have a horse in the race, seeing as Take Flyte is playing at this event.
Shout out.
Shout out. A few weeks ago, you were very confident that Take Flyte could potentially take the whole thing, but then in the last few weeks, we've seen multiple international teams from both EU and South America, and we've seen M80 and NRG sign up, and they're flexing new rosters over there. What are your feelings about this tournament? Obviously,
I have a lot of feelings.
You're gonna say Take Flyte's gonna win the whole thing.
I'll keep it real with you, man.
How are they gonna overcome these challenges?
I'll keep it real with everybody here. The goal is top 8. That's been the goal for a while. That like if we got top 8 at this tournament, we'd be pretty happy with that. Not only just from the aspect of there's a lot of really good teams there, but VRS points are so important that if we got top 8, we'd still be like in a pretty good spot to hopefully qualify for, at a minimum, another cup or two. Currently, we're guaranteed the first cup, and obviously playing in that will get us more points, but it's definitely about like confirming more VRS points, as many as possible. So if we get top 8, I'll be happy. I think we've got a good shot at taking down some of these good rosters, especially with all the roster changes. Like, I mean, hot take, NRG, worst team now. I mean...
Ooh.
That might be a hot take, but and this isn't any disrespect to the current players, but I thought that their core, obviously, you know, outside of some huge performances that were very lacking from NRG, they were a good team. Especially, they were farming at these fucking Frag 19s. So
yeah, they farmed these Frag events the last 6 or 7 months that they've shown up at them.
I just don't know how to feel, and Zodic's never gone to a LAN, which I think is just going to be a nerf in of itself. Nothing on him as a player, but just like reading about it, he's a nervous player in general, which is totally fair. I'm nervous when I go to these events as well, as just an anxious person, and it's definitely a lot of pressure playing at big tournaments under a big banner like NRG at your first LAN event. So I think there's going to be some struggles for some of these teams that definitely made new roster changes, which are opportunities for teams like Take Flyte, Chicken Coop, Tsunami, to snag some wins that maybe potentially would have been harder to get given other circumstances. But yeah, top 8's the goal. I think we've got a shot at top 4, even a shot in the finals. But it all comes down to bracket, you know? Like, I think I think M80's got a really high chance at making grand finals. And there's an EU team as well that does, but I'm completely blanking on the name right now. So it's definitely going to come down to bracket, you know, and I think everybody's pretty aware that that's normally how frags go. So group play is going to be super important. Hopefully we can bang out a 2-0 group stage, and then in playoffs we have a much better bracket. Because I know at Frag Philly we lost one of our playoffs matches, and then we had to play Getting Info in one of our rounds for playoffs, and it's just rough once you get to that point, you know, when you have to play a team that has more experience together against these top tier teams. Like, I love my team, and my team's super talented, and I think they have a shot at beating any roster, but it's undeniable they just have less experience.
They're still building that LAN experience as a roster.
So it's
compared to some of these guys that have been doing this for like 10 years since they were like not even a teenage boy.
Yeah, so I feel good. I mean, personally, even with the whole no longer having Wreckmeister and now Sharpie's fielding him, Sharpie's a fucking beast. Okay, I love Simon as a person and a player. I think he's very good. So, I mean, definitely there's a little nervousness just having to field a player so late, but fortunately, it's a player that they've all played with for multiple seasons beforehand besides Fire. So, I'm not really feeling any less confident than I was before that I think if we're feeling good, we can take down any team there. And Nello and I always do our job to try to make them feel good when we're at LAN. You know what I mean? We get them the drinks, we give them the back rubs, you know? They're feeling good. We give them the pep talk. So, I don't know, man. I'm feeling good. I think there's a lot of good fucking teams, and it's going to be a bloodbath. I think there are going to be some huge upsets. But I'm excited regardless. I mean, I want my team to do well, and obviously that's going to make a difference on how much I enjoy it to an extent, but I just love going to these events. I love seeing my players. I love seeing my former players on different rosters who are no longer with us. It's an awesome time. And the casters, the staff. Shout out to Frag, man. Shout out to Frag.
Shout out to Frag, my favorite tournament organizers of all time. Let's just say that. The literal goats. I don't use that phrase as much as your generation does, but
I'm a little willy-nilly with the goat term.
your generation throws it around a lot to the point that it is meaningless.
Goat just means good at this point.
Yeah, goat just literally means good, and that's it. But no, yeah, shout out to Frag. It's incredible work that they do, and the fact that it's just, yeah, I thank my lucky stars each time that I've gotten in good with these guys, and just, yeah, they put on an incredible event, and I think you have some really realistic goals. I think you have a good head on your shoulders about going into this event, and I think sometimes that's something that can really help you out when you're not like putting that weird kind of because now you're playing with less pressure, right? Like, yeah. You're like, well, you know what? Let's crack top 8. I think we can do that, and I think you're totally right. I think you absolutely could crack top 8.
And we have our coach there. This is going to be the first time that we've had our coach on a LAN event.
And you have your actual coach, and the big thing is your actual coach at a LAN event. When you have a coach like Rando, who's after talking to your players between Chad and Simon and even Alex, like, Rando is a vibes coach, and vibes coach can only do so much online. In person, though, oh boy, when they can like look you in the eye and be like, hey, let's like take this down a notch, like let's gather our thoughts and refocus, like it's gonna be way different, right? Like yes. That is a massive buff. That is going to be really exciting. All right, what else should we yap about here, Saben? We're going to LAN. We've been climbing mountains recently. I'm gonna get you to play Valorant with me after this.
Oh God.
Well, that's what me and my friend are gonna be doing because as much as we've been talking shit about it, I am also so dog shit at Counter-Strike right now. I don't know what is going on. I just do not have the drive to play it. And Pugs and Premier both feel just god-awful right now for me. And I'm like, I'm not having fun. But I do have fun playing Valorant. So anyway, this is not about me.
It adds a dichotomy to things, you know, where it's like you don't just have one option, but you've got this other thing, and I think it kind of makes you appreciate probably both of them, but in my opinion, Counter-Strike more, because whenever I play Valorant, I always just appreciate the little differences that I'm like, damn, in Counter-Strike, this would have blah, blah, blah. Or like, I wouldn't get spammed with 18 Molotovs and 5 smokes and 6 flashes in Counter-Strike, you know? So, and when you're playing
Yeah.
Valorant, you know, there's little things as well. Like, God, that subtick's not horrible on here. So, I think it gives you an appreciation for
Valorant
both
feels
games.
really nice.
It does. That's
Yeah.
the one thing I really like about
Valorant feels way better to play online. And the other thing too is when you're not feeling Counter-Strike, Valorant is there to keep your aim crispy on Counter-Strike. I have my settings to the exact same on both
That's
games.
smart.
So they're the exact same thing for me. Like it doesn't feel different. Like obviously it's hard to like transition from one to the other really easily back and forth every day, but like I can play Valorant for a while and then come back to Counter-Strike and I haven't like, oh God, I haven't played in 3 months. What am I doing right now? You know, sort of deal.
Yeah.
So again, this isn't about me, and we keep tricking you into
I'm a
letting me yap
conversation
about
guy.
myself here. Yeah, well, I'm conversational as well, and Big Stony Baloney over here can yap away forever. Yeah, let's. What are some other challenges as an org owner that you face that people don't really think about outside of like players?
Managing time. Managing time is a big one. Austin and I, Nello, we both have full-time jobs, obviously. My full-time job, and Nello's as well. Nello has some weird-ass hours. But my
Yeah, he
job
does.
specifically, because I work with YouTubers, and like, you have to meet deadlines, so yeah, I'm working like 10 hours a day normally. So it's like a balancing act of like finding the time where you can make graphics and you can make videos and you can find rosters, obviously. And then ultimately you need to work because you need to pay for everything and keep yourself alive, obviously. So I think that's a big underestimation. A lot of like tier 1 teams and even some tier 2 teams, they hire social media managers and they hire graphic designers and they hire editors or they outsource it to agencies. So I'd say it's pretty rare that most, and this is even for a lot of the tier 2 teams in Counter-Strike right now. I think it is very rare for almost any of these teams that are doing it kind of like we are, where we're home brewing everything, you know, like we outsource some of our graphic templates, but even, you know, we have to make the graphic on the template. And if you look at the Take Flyte graphics, I do a lot of like custom shit. Like for Chicken Coop, I added, you know, a chicken with machine guns and explosions behind it, you know, so things just take time. And like right now, this Frag 19 vlog highlights video, I've been working on it for like 3 months, and I had a lot of health complications that slowed things down, which is a side note, but you just have to balance everything, you know? And I think that's something that a lot of people don't take into account, the sacrifice that org owners specifically, or at least org owners like Nello and I who are doing everything, put in to make sure that everything goes smoothly. And we also live stream our matches. Like we're actually doing everything, you know? Like we're not outsourcing shit except some graphic templates. And that's one way to do it. I mean, if you're cool with spending, it's not even to us about spending extra money. I'm so particular about how things should be for videos and posts and like,
you have the skill set.
Yeah, I've been doing this since I was 15, you know, social media managing and editing videos. Like I know what I'm doing. I hate to say that because I'm not a cocky person. I'm not even a confident person, but I am confident in my social media skills. And if I had my full time being able to spend it to Take Flyte, goddamn, we'd be going crazy. But I'm happy with what we can accomplish considering that Nello and I are both busy individuals and we pretty much only get to spend our free time on this, and we've still done a lot. We still post cool videos and highlights, and yeah, I wish that we were able to do more this season, and again, that was to my health. So I think next season we're going to go even crazier. And yeah, I think that's just a huge thing, man. Most people don't realize that it just takes a lot of fucking time. I mean, it takes 15 minutes to make a graphic, you know? And that's with a template. So imagine without a template, or like I make all of the placement graphics handmade. Like that's something that I do personally rather than outsourcing that, and that can take hours. So yeah, time management's a huge thing. I'm big on time management, so it isn't too hard for me. to get everything that needs to get done. But man, I wish I was able to get everything that I want to get done.
You've been killing it on the social media game recently. Your posts over the last like few months of Take Flyte were chef's kiss, beautiful.
I appreciate that, man.
Exploding asshole. All right, well, dude, I only have like a few more questions for you. I can't tell. I forgot how long we've been going at this or not. Let's take a look at this. I don't want to cut you short.
No. We started the call at 1:40 and it's 2:30, but we didn't start.
Yeah, we've been gripping for 35 minutes here. We're at 35 minutes right now, and
Grip it a little longer, bro.
I say we go for 40 minutes or so, but the other thing is a little preview for those of you that actually watch these all the way through. You'll be getting a lot more of Saben on laying it down here in a few days as well from the Frag 19 footage, and we'll be doing our very first full roster plus org owner plus coach
Laying it down.
The cat wanted to meow about it. So we will be getting plenty more of Saben. But let's not gloss over these health concerns though real fast. Talk me through this, whatever you want to talk about publicly. Talk me through like what happened this year and how you made your recovery, because we're freaking glad you're here.
Thanks, man. Yeah, no, in like end of February, beginning of March, I started having some like severe back pains and like stomach pains, and I've dealt with stomach pains pretty much for like the last 7-8 years, so that's not uncommon, but they were getting really bad. Got a lot of different x-rays, CAT scans. They found a few different things. I had to get 3 different surgeries over April through June, like the beginning of June. And then I had like things in my body that it was an unpleasant existence for like 3 months. But we're here now, man. I mean, it gave me a lot to think about, just in terms of like life, and it made me really appreciate the team because they were very understanding of everything I was going through, and they were very supportive of like when I was feeling not great. And it made me realize that like there's still things to enjoy even when you're not feeling at your best. And it also made me appreciate once I started feeling a little better, just like, damn, it's not always going to be like this, which is an important mindset to have in life and in Counter-Strike. At your low points, it's not always going to be like that. The only way it will ever continue being like that is if you allow yourself to stay at the bottom without making any attempt at getting back up, which I know a lot of players do and a lot of orgs do. And goddamn, I mean, I'll be honest, I've considered ending Take Flyte at a minimum 8 to 9 times over the existence of Take Flyte. And honestly, the only time I stopped having those thoughts is when Austin finally joined me, and I felt like I finally had somebody to keep pushing me. You know, I love esports, but I just felt like, why am I doing this? Other than like, I love supporting players. What is keeping me here? You know, and Austin definitely showed me like, dude, this is why we're here. And I remembered like, this is why we're doing this. So don't let yourself stay down, you know, and it's hard to fucking do that as somebody who's chronically down, but you got to just remember to bring yourself up as much as you can.
I'm chronically down to party.
Laying it down, that's it.
Woo! Chronically laying it down, baby. Let's go. No, dude, that's beautiful. I really appreciate you sharing that, because yeah, I know what it's like to struggle with depression and just being down. And yeah, I listen, if you don't question the shit out of what you're doing when you're pouring a lot of your heart and soul into it and constantly want to give up and say, no, this has to not be worth it. If you're not doing that, then it's never going to go anywhere. Yeah. But you're doing all of those things, and that's happening because you're pouring your heart and your soul into these things. And I know that because I've gone through the exact same thing with casting over the last 2.5 years. You know,
it's a lot of commitment, man. It's a lot of
Yeah,
time,
it's
dedication, heart.
exactly, and it's hard when you're putting all this effort and time into something that you feel is not going anywhere all the time, right? But that's why you keep coming back to center, and you're like, well, I'm doing this because I love, like, what else would I be doing right now? Like,
Right.
what would I be doing with my time? It's like, oh, this is what I want to be doing, and you come back to why you're doing it. And so yeah, I'm glad you're here, and yeah, you and Nello have made an awesome team. I'm so excited to hang out with you guys here in a few days, and just fuck it. We had so much fun in Kansas City, and
Oh
that
my
was
God.
that was at a place that was 40 minutes away from the arena. So every night we were just dead tired, and the major was going on, which that was actually so sick getting to go back and watch the major.
Yeah, we'd get back at like 1 a.m. and start watching the major.
It was so sick. But yeah, I'm looking forward to hanging out with you guys. Well, all right. I've only got a couple more questions here for you, Saben.
Yeah, what's up?
The first one is let's yap about a little NACS. What from your perspective, not just what your roster needs, that we're gonna broaden our horizons a little bit here. What do you what are some of the issues that plague North American Counter-Strike from your perspective, and what do you think it needs to kind of get more on the level from an org owner's perspective of the last few years? And do you and the last part of that question is, do you feel like we're on an uptick, or do you feel like we're on a downswing?
I think we're stagnant. I'm on the ESEA website right now. I have it open in the background because I'm just looking at some of our old history, and like, holy shit, this website is infinitely better. I don't know, man. There's so much wrong, and it doesn't even just stunt North America, but it specifically stunts us because there are not a lot of opportunities for us outside of FACEIT things. Like, we rely so heavily on any small tournaments that they can bring us, any leagues that they provide, any like those, they have those communities on there and they host mini tournaments. Like, you have to use FACEIT, and they make it so difficult to use it properly or efficiently, when it really is just like a website update, and like the world would be a better place in Counter-Strike. A lot of the time I put blame on certain organizers because I felt like we weren't being heard or things were going wrong. And really, that's not the right thing to do because they're so overwhelmed. There is so much going on because it's not just Counter-Strike on FACEIT. There's Call of Duty. There's like 5 or 6 games, you know? So it's just sad to me how little resources they provide when they went out of their way to buy it.
I want to say too, like I do agree that like the FACEIT ecosystem is proving, demonstrably proving why monopolies are a bad thing.
Yes.
Because
They can
at
be
least
so
when
good.
there was,
They can be
they
good.
could be good, but there is nobody pushing them to do better, and so they don't have to.
Yeah, there's no competition.
And so they don't. But like the people like Illuminati, Darwin,
Darwin's
Bowman,
awesome.
Oso Dank.
Oso Dank
like,
is good. I don't know the
all
other two.
these
They're probably
people-
fine.
Yeah, all these people that are doing these are individuals that are passionate about Counter-Strike, and I'm happy that they're like making a salary doing what they're doing. And they're like beholden by the community because people know them, right? But like they touted, oh guys, FACEIT 2.0 is coming out and it is gonna change everything, and it was somehow worse.
So bad.
You're like, what? I will say they finally put the stats pages they've put out in the last couple of months
Are they better?
are much better. There are stats available. I still think they're a jumbled mess, and nobody actually takes the time to think about what this looks like to players or people trying to quickly click through these things
Yes.
that are trying to get us an overview. But like they are trying some things, and I know there are competitors working on coming out, but my God, I do agree. FACEIT is a mess, and the fact that they have essentially unlimited resources up at the top, yet they like ask for volunteers. That's where I'm like, that's not helping anything. That's not that's not helping. That's
And that was one of
yeah.
my big.
So
That's what I was trying to get at, kind of, is that like I don't think it's an individual level because I know like Darwin and Oso, they work really hard, and that's what I was saying is that like they need help. Like it's not that they're bad at their job, and that's why I stopped trying to look for somebody to blame because like there isn't somebody individually to blame. It's face it, you know. It's not
right, it's the
it's not
system.
Oso Dank, it's not Darwin. They're both very good at their job, and it's not anybody individually. I don't feel like it's just like when things happen to, there are specific situations I can think of in certain seasons where things happen to us that were just wrong, and I'm not going to name them right now because it's
Right.
not a big deal, but like I can tell you right now that we were cheated in 2 seasons early on, and there I was angry about that because I knew the rules, but I didn't. I did blame people individually for a bit, and I realized that that's just not right because they're not the ones making the decision. Like Oso Dank's not the one who's being like, this is wrong. You know, like he's asking his higher up, and his higher up is asking the main company, and the main company's like, it's not that big of a deal. It's just an advanced NA team. Like we don't have to rectify
Right,
this.
right,
You know?
exactly. They're too far removed from it, right?
Yeah,
Like
so
they
it's just
need to be
sad,
hiring
man.
people in these areas.
And that's why I'm not angry. I don't really care anymore, honestly. Like I know that might sound bad, but like I'm numb to the system as is. Because it is what it is. There's no alternative. Until there is an alternative, then I can reasonably be upset at face it. But like right now, it's just like you have the money, you have the resources, you should do something. That's the right thing to do, but they're not going to, and that's just how it is, you know. So I think
That's how it
I'm
is.
appreciative that the people who are involved do care. But yeah, it's just sad that there aren't enough when they have the resources to do it, you know. So shout out to the people who do give a shit, especially the people that face it, because you do make things actually work. But yeah, it's just sad, especially looking at ESEA, man. Like, man, things used to be good. We used to be living the
Things
high
did.
life. But
Well,
it's from an
I-
org perspective, it's not even that horrible. From a player perspective, though, I know they don't enjoy how it is right now. You know, ESEA was easier.
Yeah, I agree. All right, well, Saben, I got one more question here for you, and it's the same question that I ask everybody at the end of these things. My
Let's do
cat
it.
can go ahead and get off of my belly. I think I need to turn myself into muscle just so the cat will stop making biscuits on my damn soft belly and tits and shoving his ass in my face. Anyway, now I got a mouthful of hair and he won't let it go. Okay, my last question here for you is if you could talk to a younger version of yourself, maybe the 15-year-old boy who's just starting video editing, or just the younger generation out there, this is your time to get on a soapbox and preach. What's some advice you would give them? It could be Counter-Strike or esports related or life related, whatever you want to say. Sing it loud and proud for the people in the back.
I'm trying to come up with some advice that isn't some hater shit. I I would say chase your dreams, but be realistic. I think that there are a lot of people who give up on their dreams way too easily because they think it's unrealistic. But I also think that there are some people who they don't put in the effort and then they're surprised when they don't reach the goal and then they never give up on it, but they don't put in the work to get there, you know? So I think make the effort if you really want it, but also be realistic. If you're not willing to put in the effort, you're not going to get there, you know? And I think there's a lot of things in my earlier life that I put some effort into and I was never that great at, and I was always like, why am I not good at this? And it's because I never put in the true effort to get good at that. Like with editing, I put in an ungodly amount of time because I was truly passionate about that. And now, I mean, I've got 1 billion views for different clients. I've worked for some of the biggest YouTubers in the world, you know? So make sure that what you like, you actually enjoy, you know? And make sure that what you're chasing is something that is worth sacrificing for, okay? Because I've sacrificed, I already mentioned this for the team as well, but I've sacrificed relationships, I've sacrificed opportunities, traveling across the world, so many different things to chase a dream of being a video editor or being a content manager or running an esports team. And I do not have a lot of regrets on that. I've got one regret, and it's something that I've come to terms with that I don't even regret anymore. I regretted it so much in the moment, and now thinking back, I'm like, this wasn't even a bad thing because it led me to so many other opportunities that I know I wouldn't have had otherwise. So it takes a lot of perspective, obviously. I've beaten myself up so many times over these things, and I now have the hindsight to realize that I'm not upset with the decisions I made, you know? I think that there are better decisions I could have made, but I'm happy with the ones I made, and I think that's important. Is what you're chasing, make sure that you can be happy with. That's my soapbox.
I like that.
piece.
I like that a lot. Chase your goals, but be realistic about them so that you can maintain your happiness and not be crushed by the pressure of unattainable goals. So,
Yeah.
and allow yourself to work towards them, because ask anybody that reaches their goals. The best part of life is when you're working towards those goals. Once you reach them and you're sitting around, you start getting bored and anxious and depressed again because you're not working on anything.
I worked for one of the biggest YouTubers in the world, and it was such a downer for me because I felt like I finally hit the absolute peak of like a job, and I wasn't satisfied. And I was so much happier when I was working towards this than when I got there. And around that time, I started fading out of editing, and now I don't even really edit that much. I edit personally because I love it, but I don't edit for clients much anymore because I realized that like I don't love that, you know? I love being creative and I love editing, but I want to do something that I'm happy with, and I think that that's important, is that you need to work towards something that you're happy with. And you're not always going to be happy. That's impossible. You got to work towards happiness always, because that's just how life is, but you need to do something that can generally make your life better, or at least not shit. That's so important to me, is like, you can't always make yourself happy, but you can at least make your life not terrible, you know? So remember that.
Exactly. All right, Saben. I appreciate you coming through and having a yap sesh with me. This has been a good one. I'm looking forward to seeing you in a few days. Before we go, do you have any shout outs or plugs you want to throw out there for our couple dozen viewers?
Shout out to Nello. Shout out to the Take Flyte roster, all of them. Shout out to the content creators we have, Nafson, Release. Shout out to Big D for the show. Also, shout out to Nicholas
and all the
from
casting
Lag.
he does for Take Flyte.
Shout out to Nicholas from Lag, Big Sin from Limitless, the Chicken Coop guys, McAllen, Wanted Goons. Like, there's so many amazing people in this community, and I think there's not enough shined on how great the people in here are. You know, I think that there's a lot of, and I even, you know, I got negative as shit when I was talking about Face It, you know, it happens. But I think that we do need to focus a lot more on all of the awesome parts of this community and all of the awesome people who are trying to bring stuff to it, you know? And there are really not that many currently in here who I feel like are here just to take. And that's a good feeling, because as somebody who's been around,
weeded out.
As somebody who's been around since 2021, season 36 was the first roster we had in ESEA. I've witnessed a lot of fake ass people in this industry, and I'm fortunate to say most of them have been weeded out. So, shout out to everybody, and shout out to the people who got this far. You get a kiss. Mwah.
You love to see it. All right, thank you, Saben. That is.
I'm laying it down. I'm laying it down.